This is the dashboard screen. On the dashboard screen, you'll notice the options that your webmaster has enabled, in this case, Edit Site, Open Sitemap, and Manage Images. Below, you'll see the Quick Links area, where you can easily access recent drafts or see pages that have been recently changed or published. To start, we're going to edit our site, and this way I'll be able to give you an overview of all the different editing functionalities. And once your site loads, you'll see a bunch of little edit bubbles pop up all over the page. These bubbles are signifying what elements on your page are editable. As you hover over these bubbles, they will highlight and isolate the element they pertain to. So in this case, this is the header, and this is the body text below. We're going to start with a basic text editing of the header here. So what we do is we click Edit, and it's going to bring up this window. You'll notice the exact text of that header is right here in the window. You want to be careful when using these window editors. The best way to add text is to not delete the entire word or the entire line, but instead leave one letter, type your new heading, and then delete that first letter. What this does is it helps retain the style of that element. You'll also see that this particular element doesn't seem to be in the same font as when we started. That's because this particular page is using a font replacement technique. Most font replacement techniques are not viewable within the editor, so your fonts might look a little different once you've edited an item. Next, we're going to edit the paragraph area. Once we've entered our text, we click OK to save the changes. Now note, this does not mean that our changes have been published and pushed to the real website yet. It just means that they have been saved within this draft. Nothing that you do on the page will be live on the viewable website until you publish your page using the page actions. You may or you may not actually have these publishing abilities. Check with your webmaster on how they set it up. Next, we're going to edit an image. To do this, simply hover over the image and click the image. You will now be brought to the image library. In our case, the image we would like to use has not already been uploaded to the site, so we need to upload a new image. We click Upload New Image, and a browser dialog pops up. From here, we navigate to the image we'd like to upload. Once the image is uploaded, it will take us into the zoom crop area. This allows us to resize and crop the images that we'd like to use. Notice that it constrains the proportions of the image so that we do not accidentally stretch or distort our image. This looks pretty good. I click Finish to crop and insert the image, and you can now see that the new image has been added. That basically covers the simple points of editing on a website. Next, we're going to talk about repeating regions. Repeating regions are often implemented where you have a recurring news event or a recurring item such as a portfolio piece or case study. I will show you both examples of how your webmaster might have set up your repeating regions. You'll notice in this first example that when we hover over this entire element, it is highlighted and becomes editable, as well as giving us a couple new options, a plus, a minus, and an up and down arrow. These are our repeating functions. These allow us to duplicate the event by clicking the plus sign, and then going to our new event and editing it. Now, when you have an element that has been blocked together as one editable element, it is very important to use the aforementioned editing technique of leaving a letter to preserve the styles. Because the WYSIWYG editor wants to format everything the same way, if we delete this entirely and re-enter, you can see that none of our text styles have been preserved. However, if we cancel and re-enter, we can preserve our text styles by using the letter method. Once we've made our changes, we click OK. You'll notice that this element has now changed. However, it's not in the right order by date. To do that, we can just simply use the arrow buttons to reorder where it comes in this line here. You'll notice by using the up arrow, I've promoted this element to the top. One thing you should note is that you can never delete the topmost element. This restriction prevents you from accidentally disabling the repeating regions area. Now watch what happens when I try to navigate away from this page before saving a draft or publishing. Before we leave this page, we want to save it as a draft. I'm not quite ready to publish it yet because I need to review, but I'm going to switch pages and I don't want to lose my changes. The orange bar at the top has now alerted me that I've saved this as a draft. That means that if I want, I can come back and publish my page as I see it now. Let's go check out the other way your webmaster may have set up repeating regions. In this case, we can see that each element is individually editable. However, when we hover over the main element, a dialog that allows us to repeat. Notice that the edit is separate from the repeat bubble. This is because the editable regions have been compartmentalized inside the repeating region. This allows for tighter style control so that you don't have to use the letter method we used earlier. Let's review. To create a duplicate region, I will press the plus button. You can now see that this area was duplicated next to it. I now want to change it. So to do this, I'm going to first change the image by clicking on the image. I have this starburst picture here that I'm going to use for the starburst case study. It's already at the size I need. I'm just going to change the crop a little bit. That looks good. I now have my starburst image in here, but I need to change the text. I can change this header to starburst without using the letter method. Because these are all individually defined editable regions, their styles, as mentioned, are more tightly controlled. So you don't have to be as careful when using the text editor. Now, I don't want to retype in all the content I already have, because as you might have noticed, I have a draft saved. To access this draft, I'm going to click on the "But you have a draft started" link. This pop-up window lets me know that any changes I've made, such as this Starburst logo, will not be retained if I navigate away from this page to my draft. Since I know I've already done this in my draft, it's okay. You'll notice that I have the draft with the new text here. One thing I forgot to do though was change the title, so I can do that. Now that I've made all my changes, I want to publish this out and make it live. To do this, I'm going to go to Page Actions, Publish. You'll see that the page begins to publish and the bar on the top goes from orange to blue. Blue means that my changes have been published and they are live. That about wraps up your introduction to our CMS. And as you can see, it's extremely easy to manage and edit your content. There are other features that your webmaster may have enabled. You can contact them directly for support, or look out for more client videos that cover them individually.